Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Danny and today we're gonna do my first book haul. I usually do not do book hauls. I buy books at a very slow rate, and so I have never kept track of when I buy books or when I talk to you about them. They just appear on my shelves, and you will notice some of the books in this stack are ones that have been on my shelves or that I have talked about. But I've decided in the year of 2024 that I want to keep track of purchases, and I want to keep track of when essentially I bought something, because I do want to keep my physical TBR low, and a lot of the books that I purchase I have already read. But this year I have had more pre-orders than I have in the past, and I just have found myself, there are a few books that I've picked up that definitely were not expected, and I want to keep them. Essentially, I just want like a video log of this is when you purchase this book, so that way, you know, next year I could come back and to this book haul video and say, okay, have I read all of these books? This is a very small haul compared to some of the others that I've seen on the internet, but I am okay with that. I would like to normalize smaller book hauls so I can actually talk to you guys about the books that I've purchased. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I am really excited about the first two editions, which are my newest editions right now, as far as like newest additions to my collection, not necessarily publication date. But they are books that I was unfamiliar with until I recently went to a local book fair, and there was an author at this book fair that I got to chatting with, and she was very kind to sign her books for me, and I got the first two in a series. And the series title is, I think, it's something about the Whispered Tales. So Whispered Tales series is what it is. And the first book is called The Tidings of the Misfits. And what the author talked about was the fact that her and her brother have been playing D&D together. For those of you who haven't played D&D, it's Dungeons and Dragons. And they've been playing for 8 years. And so essentially what she did was she has cataloged and I don't know if she's recorded, but like, well, essentially recorded in her books, she has recreated the 8-year campaign in 2 books. And so eventually the series will have 8 books. My assumption is that it's 1 for each year, and currently the first 2 are published. And yeah, they were at the book fair, and so I decided to purchase them. The covers are beautiful, and like I said, the author did sign the books for me, which I'm very excited about. It has some lovely artwork on the inside too, which I think maybe her brother illustrated. I'm not sure. It says the map on the inside is her brother, is Joshua Dugdale, which is her same last name. And so I don't want to bend the book too much, but I don't know. The books feel of lovely quality. They're very like silky smooth and floppy. And yeah, I'm excited. They're supposed to be, it's epic fantasy, Dungeons and Dragons, obviously. And she talked about the fact that it's a group of misfits that are trying to prevent some really bad things from happening to the world, like maybe apocalyptic events. And yeah, I'm excited to get to them. Then next, I have 2 books that I have read. So I have The Goblin Emperor, which I have talked about on my channel before. I am excited to have this in my collection, and I do plan on collecting the other books that are in, this isn't a series, but it has like companion novels that are within the same world, and I think, and I've read The Witness for the Dead, which it has a character from this in it that I really enjoyed, so I do want to get that as well. So I'm just going to start slowly collecting the series. Once again, not a series, but kind of a series. If you haven't heard me talk about The Goblin Emperor, you follow Maya, who is the 5th in line for the throne, and he is half goblin, and he was never intended to be the Goblin Emperor. But everyone who was ahead of him in the line of succession dies, and he has to take over this kingdom he is not prepared for, on top of trying to figure out what happened to his family and if he is in danger as well. It's very cozy. It's also very political, and there is a overarching theme in this about friendship and what it means to be someone's friend, but also the connections with like authority and friendships, and how isolating it can be for Maya because of being put in this situation. I absolutely love this, and it's one of the books I want to reread, which is one of the reasons I purchased it. Next, I have Mary, which is another book I want to reread, and this is by Nat Cassidy. Sorry, the book is kind of shiny. So this is a horror novel that I read in October. Is it October? I think it was October because I think it was right before Halloween. Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. I read it last year and it did make my top 10 books of the year. And I just absolutely loved the story. I loved Mary. If you haven't heard me talk about this one either, so Mary is a pre-menopausal woman who starts having some hallucinations where if she is looking at a woman, she starts to see them decay, including herself. So she looks in a mirror, she sees this vision. She also has these hallucinations of these really gruesome murders that are actually occurring. And so it's about her journey and going back to her home, and also there are themes of women's health in this. She goes to several doctors to try and figure out what's wrong, and you get to see kind of their reaction to what she's going through. Also, the relationships that she has. There's a theme of her loving herself and accepting herself. There's a theme of age and essentially seeing you aging as you dying. And I don't know, I had a lot of fun with it, and it's creepy, but it also just has, I don't know, the women in this are written really, really well. And I will, at this point in time, I've read 2 Nat Cassidys and both of them were phenomenal. So I will continue to pick up this author without a question. Next is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. I freaking love this book. So these are hardcovers and the artwork is on the cover itself. And there are like little things, I don't know if it's going to focus since my face is there, but there are little things within, so like there's flowers and mushrooms and these little foxes, and there's a compass up here that are all somehow related to the storyline. And I just really love it when cover artists do that with books. It shows, there's just so many details, like the bird up here is also important to the story. And I have already read this. So far on my list of 5 books, so this is the 5th book I'm showing you guys. Out of 5 of them, I have read 3. So I'm not hurting my physical TBR too bad. And this one was a pre-order, and I got this in January. I think it was January because I read it in February. Anyway, so I pre-ordered it this year. I did read it this year, and I absolutely loved it. I will talk to you guys more about my thoughts on Emily Wilde's encyclopedia, or Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands, at my wrap-up. So I don't want to give you too much now, but if you haven't heard of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is the first book, which I also have in my collection, and it is also a beautiful book. So this is a series that features Emily Wilde, and Emily Wilde is a studier of the Fae, and she is creating an encyclopedia of fairies. And she is a little socially awkward. There is a male character in the book too named Wendell, who is essentially her exact opposite. He's very eccentric. He is the kind of the life of the party, and everyone tends to love him, whereas Emily is more grounded and in her work and doesn't really care about entertaining the people around her. And their dynamic is just really fun to get to know. Also, the Fae in the world are just really intriguing, and there are a whole bunch of different types, obviously, since Emily is creating an encyclopedia. And so seeing like how she interacts with them, how much she's learned in her studies, and how different Fae react to different things was just really fun to see. The first book follows her in a kind of Nordic area where she is studying the Fae that a lot of people don't even know exist. And it's pretty dangerous. And there are some things that are happening in the village that also are a problem. And some people go missing. There's just a whole bunch of, I don't want to say action because it is very cozy. It's very slow paced, but there are some really high stakes within these books as well. And the last book is the one I'm probably most excited about in this list. And I just got it in the mail the other day. And if you follow my Instagram account, you already know what it is. But I wanted to show it in a video too because I just want to talk about it. And that is The Tainted Cup by Robert Bennett Jackson. And this cover, man, I just freaking love this. I love like the people in the top corner. You have like these roots with a cup at the bottom, and then I don't know, it's just beautiful. And then you have the vines on the side, which also come around to the spine, and then the back is just as beautiful. And once again, this is printed directly on the hardcover. This is becoming a phase, and I'm here for it. The only books that I have that are like that are, I'm pretty sure, is Emily Wilde's, and then this one are the only ones that the hardcover is printed on. But oh no, that's not true. So all of the secret projects, Brandon Sanderson's secret projects last year were printed directly on the hardcovers. So I don't know what it is, but publishing got something right when they started doing that, because I don't know why, I love it. I love the fact that there's no dust cover, but it still looks beautiful. Anyway, so one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is because I honestly pre-ordered this because of the author. I don't think you guys can see this on camera, but down here there are the Foundry Side books. I only have books 2 and 3 because I really want a hardcover to match, because I got the hardcovers of Shorefall and Lachlan's, but I can't find a hardcover of Foundry Side. Anyway, it's the author of the Foundry Side trilogy, or the Founders trilogy, is Robert Bennett Jackson, and I have really enjoyed the world that he created in Foundry Side and the action-paced fantasy, because a lot of the fantasy books I read are slower paced and more character driven, which I'm not saying that Robert Bennett Jackson's characters aren't amazing, but he definitely has, his books feel like the ones that I've read, they feel like an action movie. And I haven't read a ton of authors that have that similar vibe. And so I definitely, when I saw that he was coming out with a different book and it's a fantasy series, I was like, yes, please, pre-order that for me. But I got this, and this is what the first sentence says on the back. A Holmes and Watson style detective duo take the stage in this fantasy with a mystery twist. I didn't realize it was Holmes and Watson. And it's a fantasy. It's fantasy mystery. So this is going to be on my fantasy genre blends at some point in time. I am so stinking excited to pick this up. I didn't even read the rest of the synopsis. That's all I need to know. And yes, I'm happy with this pre-order. I haven't even read the book yet, and I am already stoked. So those are the books, the 6 books that I have purchased recently. I'll get my face out of the frame so you guys can maybe see. I am excited that all of these are additions to my library. I know that this is a really small haul, but I really wanted to talk to you guys about them because they're all either books that I've loved or books that I'm very excited to get to. And let me know if you guys have read any of these, if you've heard of them and they're on your TBRs, or if you're adding them to your TBRs because of this video. I would love to chat with you guys about that. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys have a lovely evening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.